Hi there, welcome back to Save with Crypto. My name is Save with Crypto. Okay, so I do some good stuff here, so please do make sure you are subscribed and you've got the notification turned on. Right, so I'm going to be talking about Tap Global and XTP. XTP is the token of Tap Global. Tap Global is a fintech payment solution type thing, and I've been into it for about 2 years now, but I've never actually used it. Well, I've used it a couple of times just to test a few things out, but the problem has been it's just cost me money to use the service, so there's no point using a payment solution if it's going to cost me money and give me no benefit. So I think that's all about to change now. So I've actually become rather bullish about Tap Global and the XTP token once again. Now, yesterday I did this video here. It was called Amazing News About Bank Transfer Fees, but I still can't use the Tap app. And the reason for that was I thought it was because I was trying to put money in there from an account that was not quite in my exact name. So, for example, if your name in your Tap account is like Andrew Jonathan Smith and your account is in the name of AJ Smith, that isn't going to work. And I thought that was a problem at first, so I actually managed to change the way my name is displayed with my bank. Okay, and when I did that, it's still rejected. Now, I queried that with Tap Global, and to be fair, they've got humans that answer the support. I think there's something to be said for that these days, so that was good. I spoke to Eleni, and Eleni said, I need to check for an email from the compliance team. Okay, now I didn't know what Eleni was talking about there, and I hadn't received any such email. I did wait for a while to see if anything happened, and after about 4 or 5 hours, I got back to the support and I said I haven't received anything. Shortly after that, an email did arrive. Now, the email wasn't much fun, to be honest. I'll show you. So for a start, it's got a rather scary title of EDD, table questionnaire, source of funds and source of wealth request, and additional risk warning. Okay, so that's not the sort of thing you want to see in your inbox, but nevertheless, it needs to be dealt with once. So it said, as a fully regulated financial services company, Tap is committed to keeping our users' information up to date. This is essential to maintaining a secure and safe trading experience for everyone on our platform. Following your recent transactions, we kindly request the following: a selfie of yourself. Okay, I don't know why you'd send a selfie of somebody else, but so a selfie of yourself holding the ID you used for KYC verification with us. Okay, so for that, I just did a selfie holding my passport, and that was fine. The completed EDD table questionnaire, we'll have a look at that in a moment. It said, please note that this request is part of our standard compliance procedures. Additionally, based on the amounts you have deposited in your Tap account, we are required to request additional information regarding the source of your funds and the source of your wealth. I'm amazed at that because I've really only put a few $100 in there. We need to comply with this regulatory requirement to maintain your active account status. Okay, so what they want is a copy of the bank statement that you used to make deposits into your Tap account. This must show the outgoing payments to your Tap account and the incoming pay-ins from the original source. Well, okay, the bank I'm using in this circumstance is a bank in Belgium that I had when I lived in France, and I used to use it for some business type stuff, but it was more of a travel type account, and indeed that's all I use it for now, really. So there wasn't really much money going in there, so it was it was 2 payments from my business account, which is actually on TransferWise. So, that's what I submitted, and I just said, these 2 are from my business. As far as the outgoing payments to the Tap account, well, all there were was the failed ones from yesterday. So basically all you saw was €100 going out, then €100 coming back. So there was no actual deposits on Tap because they refused it. A copy of relevant income document. Well, the problem here was this isn't where my income goes into. So I just sort of said, well, that was 2 payments from my business account. So that was the income. A copy of source of your crypto funds. I didn't do anything for that because I'm not particularly intending on putting crypto into this account. So I just said none for that. A brief narrative from you describing the source of your wealth. I said I do some consultancy work. A brief narrative of savewithcrypto.org. Now this I found really strange, because the only reason they would know about that is because my email address ends with savewithcrypto.org. So I just said it's a domain name that I own and a website that I own. So the forms you need to fill in is this, to say you haven't given your login details to anyone else. Confirm your last transaction. So I'll just put in the €100 that got rejected. Have you ever been asked to send assets out to an external wallet? No, of course not. Has anyone asked you to install any remote desktop software? No, of course not. Are you experiencing crypto? Yes, obviously. Do you have an investment broker or advisor? No. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor, just in case you're wondering. If you intend to send or have any crypto wallets, put them here. I didn't put anything there. So private keys didn't apply. Confirm that you understand the withdrawal risks. Yes, I do. Yes, I wasn't lying. Provide additional details about your occupation. I just sort of said I'm self-employed, do the occasional job, haven't got any pay slips. It says here, please provide the source or origin of your funds deposited into your TAP account. Once again, I just said it's for private work I do as a consultant. Additional information. I did put down investments. I did send a account statement from Trading 212, which is my TradFi platform I use. So I sent that off at 5:30 yesterday, and 15 minutes later I got this email saying, thank you very much for your prompt response. We can confirm that your account is now fully functional. And I was really happy to see that. That was great. Now, I know a lot of you watching will be thinking like, my God, that's intrusive. But to be fair, you know, the way the UK is now, the way the FCA is, this kind of thing is just going to be normal now. If you're going to use something that, you know, involves like a payment card or something like that. I do think the way you submit the actual documents, you know, could have been a lot neater. You know, the idea of like getting a Word document, you know, adding the bits to it and then saving it and then attaching it to an email does seem a little bit clumsy and a bit sort of 1998, but that's how it is at the moment. I mean, I imagine they will improve that, but it's a pain to do, and it is obtrusive. But you know, if you are going to use payment type platforms, then it's to be expected, to be honest. Anyway, the point is that's done now. So what I did shortly after that was I sent that €100 again. I did that at about 6 o'clock last night, and I woke up this morning to see a message on my phone saying we've received €100 on the TAP platform. This is really good. This is great. Now let's go and have a look at the app and see what's going on. Okay, so this is the app. You can see here in the cash bit it says total cash balance €110.62, and you can see here that the euro balance is $100. Now, there's also a pound balance there of 9.11 as well, which is why it's saying 110.62. Okay, so what I want to see now is if we can top up the card using the euro balance for free. So let's go to card, go to top up, max, top up, done. Okay, so that is brilliant. That's what I've wanted to happen for a long, long time. So now you can put money in there. It doesn't cost you any money to do that. And you can top up the card and it doesn't cost any money to do that either. Bearing this in mind, I think I might go for one of the higher tiers very soon. Now, the thing we haven't got at the moment in the UK is if you want to top up the card, you don't have the option to top up with GBP. The only way to do that would be to convert your GBP into euros and put it on the card, because the card is essentially a euro card. Now, that doesn't bother me too much because this is going to be primarily my holiday card for the time being until we get the GBP accounts. So I'm going to Spain in August and I'm going to start saving some money, putting it in here. And there are a few things I want to check out. I want to find out if I can transfer money from my TransferWise account to here. And you see here that even if you display the currency in GBP, it isn't GBP, that's actually euros in there. And it will be like that until we get the GBP accounts. So I think when we get the GBP accounts, I think really, apart from just tidying up the app, sorting out the terms and conditions, sorting out the website, Tap Global is pretty much there. I know some things on the cards are going to be the ability to pay in from an account that isn't in your name. And that's going to be useful for me because I can use my business account to pay into here, which will be an advantage. At the moment, I can't do that because it's in the wrong name. But the cool thing is, you can send money by bank transfers as well, which it looks like you can probably do in either GBP or euros. Now, in the AMA earlier on this year with Arsen and Peter, Arsen was saying that the plan was to get the GBP accounts done in the first 2 quarters of this year. Okay, so there's about 4.5 weeks left of Q2. So I'm really hoping that they can roll out the GBP accounts very, very soon. If they do that, I'm so bullish on this project. Let's have a quick look at the price of XTP. Well, there's no point looking for it on TradingView anymore because Phemex has gone, and XTP is shown here on Uniswap paired with wrapped BNB, which doesn't mean a lot to me, to be honest. Now, this is because that the ByBit exchange that XTP is on isn't supported by TradingView, so you're not going to see it there. So you're going to have to go to the ByBit exchange. Now, this is the only centralized exchange where you will find XTP. Unfortunately, ByBit has the reputation of it's the exchange where old cryptos come to die. So it is the hospice of unwanted coins. So the sooner it gets onto a decent exchange, the better, really. It will happen, but it all costs money, this kind of thing. Now, I started looking at this the other day when the price was at $0.000380, and it has actually been as high as 0.001. That was on Wednesday, and it's come down since then. But there again, so has all crypto. And obviously looking at this on the daily time frame, you can see that the price is pretty much in the toilet now. I am tempted to get some at that price, or maybe if it goes a bit lower, to get a little bit more, because I think that's an easy way to sort of double your money quite quickly. And if we went up to the highs of January last year, you'd be talking about a 2,500% increase. Now, one thing about the price is it might get helped by the proper release of XTP and Tap Global in the US. Now, that did happen, but as of yet, I don't think they can do very much with it there. I mean, please tell me if you're in the US and you are a Tap user. I mean, can you actually use it? I don't know exactly how it works. I know you can't do anything with XTP, so you can't stake XTP to get premium tiers, and you can't even trade it. So that's another thing as well that is going to help the price of the token in the future. Now, I don't know how easy that's going to be to do, because I know things in the States are quite difficult. But I don't know, with the new administration, is that going to be easier? I guess it might be. Certainly easier than it was when the other fella was in. But yeah, I do fancy trying to trade a little bit here, see if I can get some cheap XTP. Now, I could do this on the app, but I'm not going to at the moment, because all you can do there is a market order. And I think by the time you've actually bought a reasonable chunk of XTP, the slippage is probably going to be prohibitive. So I don't even want to try it. I know there is talk about introducing limit orders in the future, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So I don't know, maybe I might try and trade some here on this ByBit exchange. I must admit it's not very appealing, to be honest, but maybe I'll give it a go. Anyway, if you want to see me do that, make sure you are subscribed and you've got the notifications set on all. While you're down there, please do give the video a big fat like. Any questions, leave them in the comments, or just use the comments to say hello. And above all, tell your friends.
Save with Crypto has to be one of the best YouTube channels that the United States has ever seen. Kamala Harris is not a subscriber, but I am. I have notifications set to all as well. I'd strongly suggest you subscribe to Save with Crypto today. Above all, you should tell your friends.
Save with Crypto is not a financial advisor. He just makes ice cream on the internet.
And what is the problem with ice cream?
I have no idea.
It drips.
Okay.
So my idea is what?
Need to make a drip-proof ice cream.
No. Oh, that's a fucking... Brilliant idea.
If you cannot find someone to do your own research, you must do it yourself, just like I did not.